What's up, everybody? I'm Apollo. This is Late Great Game Reviews, and I am reviewing this week Infamous Festival of Blood. Festival of Blood is, of course, the DLC for Infamous 2. They came out back in 2011. I believe Festival of Blood came out in Halloween of 2011. I'm a huge Infamous fan. Love the first one, second one, platinum both. Can't wait for Second Son to come out on March 21st. And if you're an Infamous fan like me, and you for some reason haven't gotten around to playing it like I have, like I hadn't, then definitely this will quench your thirst a bit until Second Son comes out. It's a standalone DLC, which is actually the reason that I haven't played it until now, which means that you don't need Infamous 2 to play it, because I sold Infamous 2 shortly after I platinumed it. And so yeah, it's $5 on PlayStation Store. Totally worth it. It's one of the best DLCs I've ever played. There's so much content in it. It's took me about 5.5 hours to do pretty much everything. That's like all the finding all the collectibles and all that stuff. I didn't do all the user generated content because there's a lot of that. Some of it good, some of it bad, of course. But I did a good amount of it, and I got most of the abilities and played through the main story, and it's absolutely terrific. The main story, the basic premise is it takes place on Pyre Night, a New Marais holiday. It takes place. This again takes place in New Marais as Infamous 2 did. Um, and it's Pyre Night, a fictional holiday. Um, and basically, Cole gets bitten by this vampire known as Bloody Mary. She regenerates all of her abilities and everything because of Cole's conduit blood, and basically the city is thrown into a state of chaos with vampires, and Cole is now a vampire with some really cool new abilities, but at the same time he still has some, not all, of his electrical abilities. So you get both, and it's pretty damn awesome. It's a lot of fun. It throws you right back into the action. You have you have the classic, really hilarious dialogue from Zeke and Cole. Um, yeah, it's and it all takes place in one night because if basically Cole has one night to take down Bloody Mary, otherwise by the time sunrise hits, he will be a slave to her forever, like all the other vampires that she's captured. And you get to know exactly what Bloody Mary's like, sort of delving into her psyche a bit as you find collectibles throughout the world. There's these things called. All right, you know what? I'll come back to this in a second because it kind of it it it's part of other stuff. But yeah, so yeah, main story is great. There's a ton of side activities to do. You got user generated content missions. Um, you have a lot of collectibles to find. Sorry, is looking at my notes quick. Sorry. Yeah, there's vampire packs to break up across the city. There's a bunch of canopic jars of blood that you get, and basically, the way it works is that there's your normal electricity meter, which shows how much electricity you can use, um, and there's also a blood meter, um, and you can fill up both and actually increase them. You can fill up you can fill up the blood meter by finding canopic jars of blood across the city. There's a bunch of them, like over 100. Um, and the more you find, the larger blood capacity you have, and the longer you can use your new vampiric abilities. And you get there's a couple new ones, really cool, really useful. There's the vampire sense, which allows you to basically you can see hidden doors that vampires have. You can track vampires through this scent through this sense, and you can you can see some of the collectibles, like you can see the canopic jars and things like that. Um, and also the other new ability, which is really cool. It's really great for, especially once you fully upgrade the canopic jar, or sorry, the blood meters from the canopic jars. You actually get you have this ability all along, but you and the ability is the dark swarm, which is basically you turn into a swarm of bats and you can fly around the city. Just it's terrific. It's really really fun. And once you fully upgrade that your blood meter, then you can just fly for a very very long time. You can also, using the dark swarm ability, you can slam into enemies, and once the ability is upgraded, and you can upgrade your abilities and get new abilities by both staking vampires. Like take once you have meleeed them enough, or once they're down, they won't be dead. You have to stake them, otherwise they will get back up. So you stake them, and then you get uh, it'll actually tell you usually on the screen, how much you need to get to the new upgrade or the new ability, and you do that enough times, and also, if you suck enough people's blood, um, if as the more people you bite, the more blood you get, the more vampires you stake, the more abilities and upgrades you get. Is basically what I'm trying to say. And yeah, it's really cool. Once you fully upgrade that dark swarm, it's a force to be reckoned with. You can take down. There's different types of vampires. There's the normal ones, and then there's the firstborn ones, which are basically these huge, like really super tall, super like just insane bats, that spew something at you, something that damages you really badly. Ectoplasm, I don't know what it is, but yeah, and all of the vampires that they can like teleport around, they're pretty formidable enemies. So yeah, using the Dark Storm ability on them really, especially when you can like just instantly take them down when you smash into them with the Dark Swarm and then instantly take them down. First Bloods take 3 or 4 times to take them down, but yeah, once you can do that, it's really really helpful. Yeah, so there's in terms of the side activities, there's, like I said, there's taking down um, the vampire packs across the city. There's finding all the canopic jars. There's finding the Mary's teachings, which is what I was referring to before, and which I said I'd come back to. And the Mary's teaching is basically you're using the vampire sense to find. You'll see when you use it in the game that there's like arrows pointing to places, and you follow the arrows to different things. And once you find that final once you reach the end of that particular track, you'll find these things called Mary's teachings, which is essentially recordings of Mary talking about her various experiences throughout the centuries that she's been alive, and you see how sadistic and twisted she is, and yeah, there's a bunch of those to find, and as with everything else in the game, the more of those you find, the more you'll unlock abilities, you'll unlock trophies, and if you're like me, you're obsessed with trophies. This is another reason to play the game. But yeah, you unlock abilities even from that too. So yeah, so those to find. Like I said, there's user generated content. I think that's it for the side activities. But yeah, that's a ton. I mean, it's a ton of stuff. It takes a long time, and it's never and I say it takes a long time in the best possible way. It's a lot of content for $5, and it's all really fun. It doesn't get repetitive. It didn't get repetitive for me, at least. Doesn't get monotonous or anything. It's a whole lot of fun. Um, yeah, you get new abilities. Sorry, still looking at this. Yeah, and you can. There's also that was it. There's another side activity that you can do, which is, it's not, you do get a trophy for it, but it's not a side activity like collecting collectibles. It's more like the First Bloods, the giant bat things. They actually can disguise themselves to look human. So, and there's like rows of people out because it's Pyre Night and people are dressed up and stuff, and they can look like humans. and the way you and basically you use your vampire sense to pick them out of crowds and stake them, and that's another that again will give you uh, that will give you a new ability, and it will give you um, it'll get you a trophy too. So it's a great game. Really a whole lot of fun. Um, I had honestly the game's pretty much like great all across the board. I just had a few minor gripes. One is that the final fight with Mary is a bit maddening in that it's a good fight. It's well constructed boss fight. The problem is that they throw so many enemies at you. It's really overkill in terms of the numbers of enemies they're throwing at you all at once, and it lasts for a while. And yeah, that was one thing. The other thing is that you only need to you're required to complete 2 user generated um, sets of content. They're both by Sucker Punch, and they're both good because they're by Sucker Punch. The problem is it's just strange that and they're both, yeah, like I said, they're both good, but it's just kind of strange that they chose to make that you're required to you do the user generated content. And that's another thing with the user generated content. I'm saying that a lot, but with that, once you beat the game, you unlock basically all the user generated content for Festival of Blood by other users, and if you play like 5 of those all together, then you get upgraded rockets and stuff. You get more abilities. Basically, it's just a slew of abilities that you get. It's great. The and the user generated content creator that you can use, it's well done. I think it's better than Infamous 2's user generated content, because you can go more in depth with dialogue and exactly how you want your missions constructed and all that sort of stuff, and it's pretty cool. I didn't use that much of it. Not really a user content generator creator that much, but I don't really do too much of that. But yeah, it's definitely good. And bear with me. I'm gonna look at my content. I'm gonna look at my. Can't speak today. I'm gonna look at my notes one more time. Just want to make sure there's nothing else missing. It doesn't look like there is. So that is Infamous Festival of Blood. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. It is terrific. One of the best DLCs I've played. I very much recommend it to anybody who's a fan of the Infamous series. You will not be disappointed. There's a ton of content in there for only $5. You'll get hours and hours of fun and just really good quality entertainment. So that was Infamous Festival of Blood. This is Late Great Game Reviews, and I will see you next week.